Hello everyone, my name is Jamin. Thanks so much for visiting my channel. In this video, I have a Dell Latitude 15 3520. I'm going to take you on a teardown or disassembly tour, show you how to get inside, and many of the various components you can access and upgrade once you're in. So to start, power down your computer, make sure that it's off and unplugged from your charger. We're then going to flip your computer over to access the bottom case screws. Now, all the screws you need to remove in the bottom case are noted by the red arrows. These screws are captive screws, which means even after unscrewing them, they do not come out of that bottom case. After unscrewing them, you will take a small flat pry tool and you will insert it into the seam between the bottom case and the computer, and you'll gently pry that bottom case off from the rest of the computer. It's generally best to start out back near one of the two corners and work your way down the sides to the front. Try not to put the pry tool too far in. You could damage some internal components. Just keep it on the edge, go nice and slow but firm, and you'll be able to get that bottom case off. After you do, this is what you're looking at for the inside of your computer. Now, as a general computer repair side note, whenever I'm working on a computer in my shop, it's sitting on an anti-static mat. Either that or an anti-static bracelet are great ideas to avoid damaging anything in your computer when you're working on it. If you would like any help with tools or supplies for your computer project, as well as any of the replacement and upgrade parts for this specific model computer, I will have a link above, also below in the description, and it will be a list of all the tools and supplies, as well as the replacement and upgrade parts for this computer. Now, before touching anything in a computer, it's always best to unplug your battery first. Computers are safer to work on when as little power as possible is running through them. Your battery is located down here near the bottom of my screen. This computer has two different battery options. Most of you will have a 3-cell, 15-volt, 41 watt-hour battery with a part number of G91J0. However, this battery is upgradable to a 4-cell, 54-watt, 15-volt battery with part number V6W33. I will have all that information below in the description for your reference, but I will also include both battery options in that link I told you about with all of the tools, supplies, and replacement parts for this model computer. The battery is held in by screws next to the red arrows and plugs into the motherboard near the blue arrow. To unplug it from the motherboard, you would pull the plug down out of that port. However, be careful when pulling on wires or cables in a computer. If you pull too hard, you could damage them, and sometimes you could pull them right out of the plug. So if at all possible, just manipulate the plug as much as you can. Use a pry tool or your fingernails to wiggle that out of that port so you don't damage the wires. One thing to mention about this operation, if you are here because your computer is not turning on, it could be a bad battery. You may have to replace it, but keep in mind that most laptops should still turn on and work with a bad battery as long as the charger is plugged in and working. So if your computer is not turning on, there could be something else wrong other than just a bad battery. If you would like help troubleshooting your issue, I will have a video tutorial link above, also below in the description, and that will be the full troubleshooting process I use in my shop to find out why a laptop's not turning on and how to fix it. Near the blue arrows, you see two SODIMM RAM slots. This computer takes DDR4 3200 MHz RAM, and it has a maximum RAM capacity of 32 gigabytes. I will have all that information below in the description for your reference, but I will also have several replacement and upgrade options for you in that list I told you about with all of the tools, supplies, and replacement parts for this model computer. I will have a couple different options for a single 8 gigabyte stick in case your stick goes bad, you need to replace it, but you're not looking to spend more money than you have to. I will also have a couple different options for a 16 gigabyte kit, which would include two 8 gigabyte sticks, one for each port. The reason why I include a couple different options is because RAM tends to sell really fast. People like upgrading their RAM. So I have two options there. So if one is unavailable, hopefully the other one will still be available. And then if you wanted to max out your RAM, I will have a couple different options for a 32 gigabyte kit, which would be two 16 gigabyte sticks, one for each port. As far as storage, this computer has a single M.2 NVMe PCIe port. It can take 2230 or 2280 sized Gen 3 solid state drives. I will have all that information below in the description for your reference, but I will also include several replacement and upgrade options for you in that list I told you about, with all of the tools and supplies and replacement parts for this computer. Now, in addition to that single M.2 drive, if you have the smaller battery option, not this one you see here, not the 54 watt hour, but if you have the smaller 41 watt hour, it does open up a spot on the left for a SATA 2.5-inch drive, hard drive or solid state drive. So in that list below, as far as the M.2 drive, for the 2230 sized, I will include a 128 gigabyte drive, a 512 gigabyte, and a 1 terabyte drive, again, in that 2230 size. As far as the 2280 size, the longer ones, I will have a 500 gigabyte, a terabyte, a 2 terabyte, and a 4 terabyte upgrade option. I will also include the SATA cable. If you are going for that smaller battery and you want to install a second drive there, I will include the SATA cable you need to plug it into the motherboard. And for the hard drives, I will include a 1 terabyte and a 2 terabyte. And for the solid state drive, same thing. I'll have a 1 terabyte and a 2 terabyte option. I will also include a couple different large external drives. If you really want some larger bulk storage, I'll include that in that list as well. Also, keep in mind, if you are installing a new drive onto this computer, you may need to install an operating system onto it afterwards. I will have video tutorial links below in the description showing you how to do that. Also, be aware that if you're replacing a drive that has gone bad, it's usually possible to recover data even from those bad drives. I will have more information about that below in the description as well. Your CMOS battery is right here, noted by the red arrow, and it plugs into the motherboard at the blue arrow. Now, this battery is wrapped in black electrical tape and it's stuck to the computer with double-sided tape. So if you're here to replace it, you can very easily just pull that off, pop that right off of the computer. If you're here to reset BIOS with this method, you can leave the actual battery down. There's no need to take it up. All you would need to do is unplug it from the motherboard. Now, that's a small, fragile wire. Don't just yank on the wire. You could damage it. Try to use your fingernails or a pry tool to wiggle the plug out of the port, and leaving it unplugged for about 15-20 seconds should be sufficient to reset BIOS. Now, as a side note, this operation in most cases will only reset your BIOS system settings and not your BIOS password. For more BIOS password reset information, look below in the description. Also, this operation is a common troubleshooting step when your computer is not turning on. If that's why you're here, I will have a tutorial video link below in the description, also above in the video, and that will be the full troubleshooting video I use in my shop to find out why a laptop's not turning on and how to fix it if you need help with that. This computer has two speakers noted by the red arrows. These speakers are not actually screwed down. If you notice the rubber washers over those posts for sound insulation, that's all that's holding them down. So if you're trying to get these speakers up, you can just wiggle them right off of those posts and get them up. As noted by the blue wires, you'll see where the speakers connect to each other and then run up to the motherboard and plug in near the green arrow. Now, speaker wires are very small, very fragile. Definitely don't yank on them more than you have to. And when unplugging it, try to just use your fingernails or a pry tool to wiggle that plug out of the port. Pull on the wire as little as possible. And as an extra side note, if you are having sound quality issues in your computer, if your sound is not consistent across different platforms, try updating your drivers first and trying to fix it that way before assuming that it's a speaker issue and trying an invasive repair like this. I will have a video tutorial link below in the description, also above in the video, and it will show you how to make sure your drivers are updated so you can rule that out first. The Wi-Fi card is noted near the red arrow. You would remove the screw noted by the blue arrow, and that Wi-Fi card will release, and then you can take it out of that port. After that, the only thing left on the card would be the antenna wire, and those are just snaps. So to remove those, you would just pull directly up and off of the Wi-Fi card, and those will snap off. However, they do need to be at a perfect 90-degree angle to snap back on, and you are strong enough to damage them if they're not at the right angle and you try to force it. So it could be a pain in the butt, but just go nice and slow, be patient. You will be able to snap those back on. I will have all the Wi-Fi card specifications below in the description if you would like help finding a replacement, but I will also try to have a replacement option for you in that list I told you about with all of the tools and supplies and replacement parts for this model computer. As a side note, if you are having issues in your computer where you cannot see any Wi-Fi networks, you can't access your Wi-Fi options, that's most likely a system driver issue. It's probably not a Wi-Fi card issue. I will have a video tutorial link below in the description, also above in the video, and that will help you troubleshoot that before coming in here to try an invasive repair like this. This computer has a single fan by the red arrow. The heatsink goes from the fan and the vent area over the CPU area, noted by the blue arrow. If you're here to simply replace a fan, be careful when taking it up. The fan wires are exceptionally fragile. Be sure to not pull on those wires more than you have to. Just try to manipulate the plug, if at all possible, with your fingernails or a pry tool or even a small pair of pliers. If you're here to clean out your computer, maybe you're experiencing overheating issues, you will be able to blow out or vacuum out that fan once you get it up. I will have a nice vacuum blower option below in the description in that link I told you about with all of the tools and supplies and replacement parts. I will also try to have a replacement fan option in there as well. For those of you that are having overheating issues, or maybe you're just doing preventative maintenance, after taking the 4 screws up by the CPU near the blue arrow, you are going to want to clean off all the old thermal paste before reapplying your new thermal paste. You don't want to put new paste on top of old paste. It won't work very well. If you need help with any of this operation, I will have a video tutorial link below in the description. Also, I'll put it above in the video. It will show you how to fix an overheating laptop. And one of the things it will show is how to clean off all the old paste from both the CPU and the heatsink. And then it will show how to apply the correct amount of new thermal paste. If you put too much down, obviously it won't work, but if you put too much, it ends up locking heat in rather than facilitating its transport out. So again, that video will be available if you need it. One more thing to shout out about thermal paste, they're not all created equal. Generally speaking, the cheaper stuff will do a good job, but a little more expensive stuff will do a better job. I will try to have 2 different thermal pastes in that list for you to choose from. Another thing that I'll mention here are these ribbon cables that you may encounter as you try to move various components. You'll see one example near the red arrow. Those clips that hold those ribbon cables down are very fragile and very easy to break. And if you break them, you're probably not going to be able to find a replacement, which means that your ribbon cables may never secure down well again. So when you're operating those, be very careful. The way to operate them is to use a small, very, very flat pry tool, slide it up in the direction of the red arrow underneath the clip. You then gently pry it up to release the ribbon cable. The clip will open like a book cover. It will open on the end of the red arrow, and its hinges are on the upper end near the blue arrow. And once you open that like a book cover, you'll be able to slide out that ribbon cable. And then I always put down that clip so it doesn't get caught on anything because again, you really, really don't want to break those. But that's the end of the video. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, check out the FAQs below in the description. It could save you some time getting an answer. If you do need to leave me a question or comment, please feel free. I do try to get to those a couple times a day at least. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I look forward to seeing you on my next video.